Today's video, I'll be covering playmaking in NBA 2K26. You'll learn how to use the correct pass, create more separation for shooters, set your teammates up, limit turnovers when passing, and we'll also be looking at some passing settings and what they change so you have more control and style with throwing dimes. So if you ever wanted a deep dive into passing in 2K or learn how to become a better playmaker, this is the video to stay locked into. This is the Academy Episode 5, the Playmaking Guide. I'm JerzyMate93 and let's get right into it. To become an elite playmaker, you have to know what pass to throw. If you are simply using X or A for all your passing, you're significantly downgrading your offense. So let's look at the controls for passing the basketball in NBA 2K26. Let's start off with the most basic pass, and that is the chest pass. The chest pass is triggered by tapping X on PlayStation or A on Xbox. Now, the chest pass is effective for getting the basketball to your teammate as quickly as possible. Because of its speed, you typically want to use this pass when you need to kick the basketball out, when you see the defense is rotating towards you, or when swinging the basketball around the perimeter to get an open shot. While this pass is quick, it's an easy pass to get picked off when it's thrown in a large gap between teammates. So if you want to limit turnovers with this pass, try to throw them only in medium to short distances. Now, one of the negatives of a low-rated passer isn't just the speed of the pass, which is based off of his passing ratings, which again will make it easier for him to get the ball stolen from people who don't even have high steal ratings or high hands, but it's the fact that these animations that they use typically are going to be longer animations compared to the pro play animations of high-rated passers. So someone like Trae Young, James Harden, Jokic, they typically have shorter or much quicker animations, and it's much harder to pick them off because the basketball is being released from their hands a lot faster compared to somebody who's a low-rated passer. And I have to note that certain pro play passing styles will simply excel at certain passes more than others. Just like any other signature animation pack, certain moves or passes will be faster or harder still, just like certain dribble moves create different degrees of separation. One of the biggest issues many players make is not paying attention to the passing indicator. The passing indicator lets you know which teammate the ball handler will pass the ball to. You can see that as I move the left stick, it changes to a different teammate. So if you ever wondered why a pass went somewhere unattended, it's because your left stick at some point was directed towards that teammate. This is important to pay attention to because certain actions on the court will happen too fast for you to icon pass to. So if you could try to remember, you want to try to pre-aim your pass so the indicator is towards the teammate that you want to receive the basketball to when you see certain actions running, like the screenplay for Cooper Flag, because this will greatly improve the fluidity in the offense that you're running. One of the skills of passing the basketball is understanding what type of pass you'll need to make. While the chest pass is quick, it's not the best pass to throw in every scenario. Being a good passer is throwing passes that only your teammates can get while keeping the basketball away from defenders, and this is where bounce passes start to come into play. The bounce pass can be triggered by tapping circle on PlayStation and B on Xbox. This will allow you to pass the basketball at difficult angles with one or two hands depending on the pass style you have. But the benefit of the bounce pass is that it allows us to lead our teammate towards the rim as he begins to cut or roll towards the basket after a screen, while keeping the basketball low, which makes it harder for defenders to pick off the pass. Now, you can get bounce passes stolen even when using them in the correct scenario if you're not reading the defense, which I will talk about shortly. The bounce pass is most effective in shorter ranges, but they can be used for post entries if the player guarding you is shading you to one hand. Another scenario bounce passes are ineffective is using them with a shooter coming off of a screen. You want to deliver the basketball as quickly as possible to the shooter, and adding an unnecessary bounce for a shooter that's open will not work out well for your offense. The best time to use a bounce pass is in the pick and roll when you have the hedger playing too high or he overplays his position and you need to deliver the basketball to your teammate as he slips towards the rim. When you see the big step over, deliver the pass from the pocket. If you pass it too early, it can be stolen. As mentioned earlier, depending on the passing style, certain animation packs will have faster passes. So someone like James Harden, he has, to me, in my opinion, faster bounce passes compared to chest passes. The bounce pass should also be used when a teammate is cutting and you need to lead him towards the rim. This will allow him to catch the basketball in his stride without him having to lose momentum by turning his body to catch the basketball. The bounce pass you throw could actually be determined by your movement. Here are some examples with Donovan Mitchell. If you're sprinting or in a heavy jog, you will trigger bounce passes that look more like this. But if you're using a screen and you're walking or lightly jogging out of them, you'll trigger a pocket pass. When you compare the passes, you're shortening the animation since you're passing from your hip or the pocket. And this can greatly limit the turnovers when you are trying to use a bounce pass in the pick and roll. Now, you don't have to rely on the pocket pass. The main thing you want when coming off of the pick and roll is to force a 2 versus 1 situation on the big. So you should watch episode 1 of the Academy, which discusses the importance of taking the correct angles in pick and rolls. In this situation, we want Nurkic to commit to Luka, so this makes it harder for him to rotate back to DeAndre as he rolls towards the basket. So we need to be attacking hard off of the screen. Once we get Nurkic down a little further, that's when we'll drop the lead pass to Ayton, who now has enough momentum to finish the play. And these little things is what really makes you a great playmaker. You have to really know how to set your teammate up by using your dribble or positioning on the court to allow them to have more separation. That is the key to being a great playmaker. After the bounce pass, we have the overhead pass / the lob pass, and they can be done by pressing triangle on PlayStation or Y on Xbox. They're best used during slips or when your teammate has a height advantage over a smaller defender. This will allow you to float the basketball over the defense. This is also a great pass to use when you want to call a slip during a pick and roll. To call a slip, press L1 after you have initiated a pick and roll. This pass is slower, so you have to be mindful. You only want to use this for shorter players or a player that struggles with getting through screens. This pass will allow you to lead the screener towards the basket earlier compared to the bounce pass, since the pass is slower and he can easily run and catch up to the pass to finish at the rim. What I mean by earlier is you could deliver a pass almost as soon as the big begins to roll towards the basket compared to other passes. As I mentioned earlier, being a good playmaker is about creating separation for your teammates, and to do that, you have to understand what is a good passing angle. So here's an example of how using the wrong pass results in a turnover because of the angle versus scoring because I used a better passing angle. But trying to set a teammate up, you always want to analyze your body position and what pass you're able to throw from that position. An option a lot of players seem to be unaware of is rolling the inbound to save yourself time. This is a vital feature to learn in close games when you're trying to come back, or even if you just want to extend your lead. Use this to prevent the game clock from starting. Simply walk towards the basketball to pick it up, and then once the basketball is picked up, the game clock will resume, and then you will have to try to score within the time that you have left. But to trigger this, simply hold triangle when inbounding. Next, we have jump passes. To jump pass, press square and X together. These animations have a slight delay due to the ball handler having to leave the floor, but they can have a lot of zip on them with certain passing styles. These passes add some elevation to your passes like the overhead or lob pass, but with more speed. This is another option to use during slips, but they work best when you're dealing with a double team. This can be a good pass to throw across the court if you wait long enough to draw the double team. Next, we have handoffs. These are passes that will make or break certain plays if you can't get them down. Handoffs are simple to trigger. You have to press X as your teammate gets closer to the teammate with the basketball. This timing it will result in a short chest pass. You want to wait until your teammate is about an arm's length away before you tap X. A handoff or pitch will allow your teammate to keep his momentum. This pass is important to master for players who don't have elite ISO skills, but they need separation to shoot or finish at the basket. This is especially useful for shooters, as defenders will also have to fight through the handoff and have to probably brush through a screen to stay attached, which will then give you more favorable looks at the basket. Now, one thing you can do to consistently trigger a handoff or pitch is to go into your protect stance by holding L2 before the receiver approaches. Getting into this stance makes the handoff a little bit more efficient since the passer doesn't have to turn his body for the handoff. And just here's a comparison with L2 and without L2 being held. The easiest way to consistently trigger a handoff or pitch is by holding circle, but you first have to go into the controller settings and then change the receiver control to handoff / pitch pass from the default receiver get open option. I think this setting is worth changing since you can use the icon quick action to get a teammate open if you need that action to be executed. Now, the handoffs, they work best when you have a speed advantage over your matchup or they're guarding you too closely. Try to use handoffs with movement first. They're not as effective when your teammate is just standing around. Try to get the defender to chase after the offensive player before triggering this option so you can get a step on him and finish in the lane. The newest pass we can trigger is a ball wrap, which is done by pressing circle twice. The ball wrap passes have a lot of zip on them, and you'll want to use them when a teammate is cutting very quickly. And also, these are the primary passes that you would like to use to hit a shooter coming off of a screen around the perimeter or even a baseline when you're trying to do a driving kick, as you'll deliver the basketball very quickly and at a better passing angle compared to chest passes. We could also do touch passes by tapping X immediately on the catch. Try to use this when swinging the basketball around the perimeter when you've broken down the defense and they're trying to recover. Lastly, we have icon passing. Tapping R1 will bring up the icons of your teammates, and you simply want to press the icon that's over the head of the teammate you want the ball to go to. You can take icon passing a step further by triggering icon bounce and lob passes. To icon bounce pass, double tap the button that's over our teammate's head, and to icon lob pass, hold the button that's over your teammate's head instead to throw a lob pass. Now you do have to change a setting, and we are going to talk about settings right now. To activate these special passes with the icon, we simply need to go to our controller settings and then scroll down to icon passing, and then once we're there, we have to select pass type control, and this is going to allow us to activate those special passes with the icon buttons. I definitely like having this option enabled because with icon passing, you're able to hit any other teammate when running plays or a freelance action, and this is still going to limit your turnovers by allowing you to deliver the basketball by using the correct pass. One thing I want to add about icon passing, you need to be skilled enough to where the icons barely appear on the screen. The icons should flash when you're trying to score in transition or you've beaten your man off the dribble and his teammate is rotating towards you. Outside of that, it's okay to pre-aim your passes by having your icons up during certain plays with multiple scoring options so you could pick the defense apart. One of the biggest mistakes players make when running plays is waiting the icon once the shooter has already hit the screen. This will cause you to pass the ball too late to a wide open shooter. So instead, keep your icons up and read the defender that's guarding the shooter to see if he'll have enough space once he hits the screen for an open shot. Now the next setting that you might need to change is the hold lob pass button. The hold lob pass button will change the function of the lob button to a skip pass or to send your nearest teammate for a backdoor cut. This setting should remain on the cut towards the basket option because if you need to make a skip pass or a cross-court pass, you should icon pass it. I also have to mention, if you hold down circle, your nearest teammate will try to get open. And if you hold X, you will keep control of the passer and you can manually cut to set up a give and go. Because of these features, I don't think it's necessary to enable the full receiver control option in the icon passing setting. But if you want to enable this option, you'll be able to fully move any player around without having to first pass the basketball. And as you can see right here underneath the player, you should see the player indicator or the pass indicator and me then controlling them with some little left stick movements. So again, that is what the full receiver control option does. In terms of passing profiles, you have openness, direction, and default. From my understanding, these profiles will dictate which player the passing system will prioritize if you're aiming in a direction with multiple teammates. So I tested the openness profile to see how effective the system was at deciding who was open. I used the default sliders at first and didn't use the left stick at all, just X, and Jokic could not find the open man. Then I adjusted the sliders to favor openness even more, and Jokic again couldn't find the open man. And then finally, I went all out with adjusting the sliders to heavily favor openness with distance being at 1. And initially, Jokic did not pass to the open man. Then I added a left stick push in the direction of Peyton Watson and Jokic passed it to him. So you still need to aim the left stick relatively in the direction of your teammate that is open. You might not have to be as precise with your angles, but it will show you some of the benefits of having a higher open passing slider set. Me personally, I feel like the direction slider set leads to more turnovers. So if I had to use a profile, it would be default, which is a more balanced slider set. And then I would use openness if I felt like default just still wasn't giving me the passing logic that I want in that game. But personally, I think passing slider sets is a real personal slider set or customization that you should really have for just you, because there's a lot of factors to go into what type of passing priorities you need. If you're somebody that could easily get into the lanes, drive and kick, openness obviously is going to benefit you a lot more. If you're someone that uses a lot of plays, cuts, curls, things like that, direction would make more sense in my opinion. So I really can't give you a definitive slider set that is going to fit all of your needs. You just have to experiment and try to find which one favors your play style. Next setting that might improve passing for you is disabling auto lob to moving receiver. This will remove contextual lob passes when pressing X. This setting is enabled by default and it can result in turnovers if you're someone that relies heavily on pressing X for all your passing. If you simply want more control and throw less floaty passes, this setting might be a game changer for you. While this isn't a pass, you can trigger a pass fake, which can help you online. To trigger a pass fake, press triangle and circle at the same time. If you trigger a pass fake while moving, you have a very short window to trigger a dunk or layup after it. And this does work online. When you have a defender that is always trying to speed you up off ball and gambling for steals, this is going to really throw them off because they're not really prepared for people that use the pass fake. The last setting we have to talk about is icon lead passing. This is enabled by default, but this allows us to lead the teammate that's about to receive the basketball to different areas of the floor. Lead passing is the most important type of pass to master in 2K. As you can see, this will allow us to push our teammates to more favorable areas on the court for open shots. This example with Desmond Bane shows how we can turn this pin down into a corner 3 because we're going to use the icon pass to him but push the left stick towards the bench, and this will allow him to now get behind that 3-point line and stay there and allow his defender to be walled off by screens, and this gives Desmond Bane a very easy corner shot. The last setting that is worth changing is the pro stick pass type. To pro stick pass, we need to hold R1 and then move the right stick in the direction of the teammate we want to get the basketball to. Normal passes are enabled by default, so we have to switch to flashy passes to pro stick flashy pass. The reason why I think it's worth making this change is because flashy passes, when used correctly, are some of the fastest passes in 2K, and they also allow you to throw a pass at unique angles without having to completely turn your body in most cases. You'll need a pretty decent versatile visionary badge to make these passes less risky. Also, I believe this is the easiest way to throw flashy passes while using R1 and the right stick instead of X and circle, if that is how you are wondering how to trigger a flashy pass. This allows you to access flashy passes much easier as you drive, because flashy passes are best used when the defense is rotating. You don't want to use a flashy pass as a defender is getting into your face or guarding you closely. You want to use it when you have the defense collapsing it. The pass you'll trigger will be based on the angle you have towards your teammate. So behind the back passes typically trigger when you're moving laterally, and also no look passes trigger when you're driving towards the basket typically. If you guys enjoyed this video, please leave a like and comment the number 5 in the comment section below. Please watch the Academy playlist, and that is going to have everything that we have shown or talked about so far in the Academy series linked, so by the time the next Academy video, when we start referring to these older episodes, you guys are in the know. And just a heads up, the next video is going to be a online defense video because I know a lot of people have been waiting for that, and I hope you guys support it. So I hope you guys also can please leave me a like and subscribe if you haven't already. If you want more NBA 2K content, I'm JerseyMan93. Peace.